Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to the Viks. Woo, it's been a minute since I sat down and did a video by myself, recording by myself, but I thought, you know what, I've been promising booyah, and maybe this is temporary, maybe this is permanent. We will see, but let's just take it as it comes. I'm just happy that I have had a chance to do a recording. Before we even get to the video, please can you guys subscribe, like, comment, do everything that you guys need to do, you know? But most importantly, please subscribe to my channel. I mean, the road to 10k is officially like within. We are within the road to 10k and we need to make it to 10k, guys. Like, my goal is to make it to 10k before the end of the year. But I know, but I also need to put in the work. So, you know, let's work with each other. So yes, subscribe to my channel for more content. Switch on the notification button just so that you know when I post a video, you can get the notification, right? Anyway, let us get straight into the video. I don't want this to be a long video. I want to just get right into it. Ooh, guys, the English bundles are just wow, like wow. But anyway, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this video. This video, as you guys can see, is a video about electives, final year electives. I'm not sure if other universities you choose electives from third year, but I don't think so. Electives, you choose them from fourth year, from my experience at Wits, and from what I understand as well from UP, University of Pretoria, right? So I want to have a conversation about electives. Just a couple of people have been asking me about, oh, which electives are the right ones to choose in your final year? Do your electives have an influence on like the kind of law firm that you end up in, things like that, right? So I just want to take you through, for example, what I did, my electives, and whether or not I think that electives have an influence on whether or not you get into a big five law firm or you get into a small one-man firm. We're just going to have a conversation about that, right? Okay, cool. And maybe let me start off with just my own views about choosing electives, right? My view on electives is that you need to choose, maybe let me say how I went about choosing my electives. I chose electives based on what I enjoyed or what I thought I would enjoy, right? So for example, in my final year, so got to final year, and by the time I was in my final year, I knew already that I was going to go to Bowman's. I knew already that I was going to go to a largely corporate law firm, right? So, I mean, I didn't really try to align my electives to what kind of work I'd be doing at Bowman's. I really just went about with, firstly, what I wanted to do, what I liked. So for example, I really enjoyed human rights law, right? So some of my electives were kind of geared to that, right? Even though I was going to go to Bowman's top 5 law firm that doesn't do human rights law. So I went with what I enjoyed, right? And I think the second thing is I also went with what I was interested in, like an area of law that maybe I didn't really know about, but I really wanted to understand and to engage with. That was my second reason for choosing certain electives. And my third reason, I think, for choosing an elective was, to be completely honest, I know this is going to sound really bad, but I went with the electives that I knew, it was easy for me to score a distinction. I wasn't trying to get an elective, like for example, special contracts at Wits, where like the pass rate was like less than 30%. I'm not trying to repeat. I'm in my final year. I'm going to start articles next year. I'm not trying to repeat a course for nobody. So that was my view, right? So those are the things that I think I took into account when I did my elective. So how I chose my electives at Wits, how it worked. I think we had, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if it's still the case, we had 3 compulsory subjects, right? And then those were admin law, maybe it's the one that you go to law clinic. There's this other one that you have to go to law clinic for the whole year. And there was something else, I can't remember. Then you had to choose 7 electives. I know that sounds like a lot. I think it sounds like a lot. But the 7 electives can be spread between your first semester and your second semester, right? So then I chose, so how it worked is that you choose 7 electives, but if you decide to do a research elective, you only do, I think, 5. So your research, I think your research elective counts as 2 electives. I don't know if that makes sense. So for example, what I did, right, is that I love research. I love writing. So I was like, I'm definitely going to do a research elective. And not necessarily because I wanted to drop other, like I didn't want to take two extra electives. It was just that for me, it was set in stone that I was going to do a research elective because I wanted to write. I wanted to engage in that because I knew that one day at some point, I was definitely going to do my LLM. So I did a research elective. And my research elective was based on, again, as I said to you guys, I was interested in human rights law at the time. And I probably still am, yeah, but it's one of my areas of interest, and that's probably why I'm doing my master's as a dual master's in competition and research. In competition and human rights law, that's what I meant. So I did the human rights elective, not the human rights, the research elective in human rights, right? My supervisor being a human rights law specialist, right? Then, what else did I do? I did insolvency law. Insolvency, why did I do insolvency? I can't even remember. I think insolvency was one of those that people were just like, I just do insolvency, like it's nice. And I think another reason why I did insolvency was because I really liked the lecturer. She was my first lecturer at Wits, my first introduction to law lecturer at Wits. So I really enjoyed the way she taught. And so when I found out, okay, now insolvency, I was like, yes, definitely, I'm gonna do it, right? Okay, cool. Then I did that. It was an okay course. I think I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it. But I think another reason why I did insolvency was because at the time when I consulted with people about which electives to choose, people would say, oh, when you write board exams, I think ethics has insolvency in it, so just do it because at least you have an idea for your board exams. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, sharp. Then I did that, right? Then I did a course called ADR. That was like one of those courses, maybe some alternative dispute resolution. Yeah, that was ADR. That was what it was called, right? I did that, and let me just be honest with this course. I did that course because it was like the easiest course in the whole wide world. Like, it was one of those courses that when you did, you knew for a simple distinction. And guys, I know like it sounds so bad just to do a course because you're gonna get a distinction. For me, it was like, I want to graduate cum laude, and whatever was going to get me there, I was going to do. So that was my thinking. So that's how I went into doing ADR. And I mean, it wasn't like it was a very chilled course. Like, it was one of those courses that you're like, hi, what are we even doing here? Like, we just were working and doing like random presentations. But I did it, and I did get the distinction. I think everybody got the distinction in the class. But that was one of the courses that you kind of knew that even if you don't leave it with one distinction, that is a course that you are going to get a distinction in. And vele, you must take it. So I did it. I did ADR, right? Then, no, that's funny because I can't remember the other courses. What else did I do in my final year? Succession. I did succession. Succession, similar to insolvency, I did succession because board exams, wills and estate, things like that. So people were like, yeah, it's a good course to take if you're gonna be an attorney and you want to write your board exams, at least start the basis of learning your wills principles in succession. So I did it like for that reason, and I really, really enjoyed it as well. It's actually one of those courses that you do at Wits, and you feel like you actually apply the principles, even if, for example, you don't necessarily like work with wills and estates on a daily basis, but everybody knows somebody that has died and that needs help with their wills and whatever. So that was one of those courses that I did and I was quite happy with. So I think that's it, right? I think I mentioned 5. I said ADR, succession, insolvency. What else did I do? In the research one. And there was probably something else that I did that I can't remember now. But those were kind of my electives that I did. And so I would say that my electives were really based on interest and based on just how easy I would be able to make it through, to the end of the year, right? But it's so funny that I did electives that I did electives that have nothing to do with my career today. So whether or not your electives determine where you end up, to be completely honest with you, my answer to that question is they don't. And the reason why I say that is that I'm a competition lawyer now. Like, I did not do competition at all at Wits. The first time I came across competition in my entire life was at work, when they explained what is competition law, and the fact that I came across it because we had to do a corporate rotation at work. And I was like, okay, cool. What can I do that is not necessarily strictly M&A? Because I did not see myself as a transactional lawyer, guys, and I still don't. So I was like, okay, cool. What can I do that's not? And then I was advised, why don't you do competition? I was like, oh, what's that? And then I found, it has quite a regulatory aspect of it. So I was like, oh no, definitely I can do that as my corporate rotation, right? Not who I was planning on staying there or anything like that. But I went and I really, really loved it and I really, really enjoyed it. So I really don't think that the rotations that not the rotations, the electives that you choose in university have any bearing on whether or not you make it into a particular firm. I don't think so. I actually, for me, I would say from my experience, they don't, because if they did, for example, you would have thought that I would have taken subjects like my special contracts in university, competition, those corporate subjects, but I didn't. I literally didn't even have one corporate subject in my entire elective stream. So my advice to people that are looking to decide on electives is always do something that you're interested in, things that you'll actually enjoy. I believe school is hard, guys, but it's better when you do things that you're actually interested in and that you actually like, and courses that when you're studying it, you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting, as opposed to, let me do it because I want to get into Bowman's, or let me do it because I think this is what I'm expected to do. No, so that my advice is always do what you are interested in and what you like, and then you uzobona ukuthi in the end, wherever you end up, you then get into a firm and everything really is literally about practice. Like the practical, what you do in university and what you learn in theory is very, very different from your practice. So yes, I suppose it's always good to maybe just have like a bit of a background, right? So for example, if you know that, oh my gosh, I want to be a competition lawyer, or I want to be a banking lawyer, or I want to be this lawyer, then yes, do competition, do banking and finance as an elective, do mining as an elective, if you know definitely this is what I want to do. But I didn't know at the time, Guti, I wanted to be a competition lawyer. So I think I was very open-minded to wherever I land. So I would definitely recommend do what you're interested in. And when you do get into a firm that, for example, specializes in, let's say, IP, intellectual property, then you learn on the job, okay, this is IP. And maybe what you could do, instead of necessarily doing, for example, IP in your undergrad, you could do it as a master's elective. So for example, let me take it back to myself again. I didn't do competition in my undergrad, but now in my LLM, as one of my electives, I did competition because now I know about it. I like it. I specialize in it, so I can actually just do something that I actually, when I had done it in my undergrad, I would have not necessarily enjoyed, and that would have affected my decision to do it at Bowman's or not. But in any event, things came together. So my advice with anybody that is looking to do electives, obviously consult with people that have done those electives. Like I did a lot of consultations, and people will tell you, oh, this is what the course is about, right? So for example, there's this one course at Wits that I wanted to do. I think it was called forensic science or something like that. But the reason why I did not do that course was because I was just like, I think there's a part in that course where you have to go and you go to a morgue. There's something that put me off that course, and I was like, I'm not interested in seeing batho ba tlhokofetseng. I was just like, no, I'm not interested in understanding why someone died in that way. And I think it was probably just because of my history and the history of my family and how my brother passed on. But I was like, I'm interested in the cause, but I'm not interested in trying to dissect the reasons for people's passing. But I thought it was a very interesting course, right? So my advice is always do what you like, obviously speak to the people, if you're in your third year or your second year, speak to people that are in their fourth year. Ask them, how is this? How is that? How is that? You know, then they'll tell you, oh, okay, this is good, or this is bad, or this is whatever. But so that when you get into a course, you're not going in blindly. That's another thing, right? You're going in knowing exactly what is expected of you. So for example, I wanted to do special contracts, but it was one of those courses that people were like, yeah, you can do it, but it's the pass rate is very low. So I needed to think, okay, cool, I can do it. And I'm not saying that I don't think I was gonna pass, but one thing that I thought of is that it might reduce my entire average below the mark that I was aiming for in my final year, which was just a no for me. That was something that I obviously was working very hard towards. So anything that was gonna reduce my average was a no for me. But also I really didn't feel like having to deal with the possibility of failing a subject and then having to stay adverts for an additional year, because that would have caused so many problems with me starting work and everything. So I would really suggest, there's so many factors that you must take into account when you're choosing electives and why you should choose a certain elective. So you really need to consult the people that are in the final years. Ask them how the courses are, also ask them about also the assessments of the courses. Some courses I know adverts, which was just really just strange, how they'll have like a test or an assignment and an exam, and it will be 50-50. And it's like, if you fail one of those things badly, like the chances of you passing the course is not that very, very high. So things like that should take into account. But obviously my biggest thing that I always say is just go with what you're interested in, because when you do that, you enjoy the course, and when you enjoy the course, you really just also it will help you to be able to get the marks that you want. Yeah, I think that's really just what I wanted to say about choosing electives. It shouldn't be a very stressful exercise, guys. Really, final year should be like the best year, because obviously, yes, it's difficult because you're looking for articles, or you're trying to just get the best marks in order for you to secure the space that you have at a firm that you've already signed with. But at the end of the day, just remember that whatever it is that you're going to end up doing eventually in your career, it's going to be things that you learn on a practical basis. And your electives, yes, as much as they may play a role, they're not going to play, like, if you don't do a certain course, it's not going to be the end of the world. So that's why I say do what you're interested in. Yeah, that's all I want to say, guys. I think that is the end of the video. I did say I don't want this video to be long, and I think it's almost 20 minutes now, but that's it. If you have any other questions about electives, what to do, what not to do, please hit me up on my Instagram, follow me on my Instagram. You can also just ask in the comment section below. I will try my best to answer as many questions as I can. And yeah, and those that are in their final year, or those that are in their third year that are thinking about electives, actually the people that are in their final year, if people ask in my comment section about certain electives and you guys have advice on that, please, you are more than welcome to just also comment, answer those questions, because obviously I don't have all the answers in the world, but I will try to answer to the best of my ability. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we're going to be doing this more and more and more, and that this 10K road, we can see it, guys. I know it's coming. Cannot wait to have a celebration of 10K subscribers on YouTube. But as usual, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video on all your platforms, Instagram, Twitter. Not really active on Twitter, but share on Twitter, Facebook, all of the platforms. Share this video and just keep engaging, guys. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to follow me on Instagram. What's my handle? I think my handle was TSHIDI. No, it's not. TSHIDEE_Vix on Instagram. But as usual, it's been a pleasure. And I will see you hopefully very, very soon again on YouTube. Bye, guys.